Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Right?
Opposed? Okay, here we go. Next would be to appoint a vice chair. If there be any motions to do that.
Motion, John Kitchen.
Is there a second?
Second.
First and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. John Ketchum, vice chair. Appoint a secretary is the next thing on the agenda. Any motions as such?
I motion Melinda.
Since she's already started writing.
Right,
I'll second that.
First and second? All right,
got the
Russ
pen
and
going.
Dean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Okay. So we next have to approve the minutes of the December 27th, 2023 meeting. Are there any questions regarding those minutes? As such? If not, would there be a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, first, Teresa, is there a second?
Sure, second.
Okay, Teresa and Mike. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. Why don't we take just a second and why don't the various heads of departments indicate who their representative is here today?
Sure. Board of Supervisors, Mike Barry.
Okay,
Haley Ripple, and I have Michelle Schoonover, and she's just walking in.
perfect.
Don't be,
Don't be sorry.
don't be sorry.
We didn't wait.
We did change the
Here,
time from last
come on
year,
over.
so it's not all you. You just gotta put it.
I gotta make sure you have my email address, because I didn't get that.
And I did put it out there, I did put when they sent it. Didn't I do anything?
The only thing I got was from Haley. So that's all
We'll
right.
work on it.
That's all right. We'll make it.
We're just getting into the guts of it. People are,
Okay, cool.
they're
You
very,
didn't get appointed anything, so.
not yet.
So Alexis Fidel, Benton County Recorder, John Minutes, and representative.
Okay,
Ray Law, and my representative is John Ketchum.
Melinda Schottmer, treasurer, and mine representatives, Tressa Walton.
Tracy.
Tracy Seaman, supervisor, and Steve Williams is my representative.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Well,
And who's that guy over there? He is Sheriff Upaw, the representative is Charlie Coward.
oh,
Yep.
yes. And that's right, you paused sick, did you say, Charlie?
He is.
Okay, very good. Welcome again.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Okay, so we'll open this up for discussion. Why don't we kind of try to make a point here to, everybody's got ample opportunity to say whatever's on their mind. And hopefully when questions, comments are satisfied, then we can make motions to approve as such, and then we'll ask for a general consensus. So who would like to start the discussion here? And of course, we're leading toward the idea of how much and in what ways we'd have increases for the various positions and staff for this year would be our goal.
Well, I mean, in the past, it's always been a straight percentage across the board, it seems like, going back through the previous years. And then Haley set out some information of what other counties are doing, and I see there is options for, different options to do. And I don't know if we wanted to look into doing this. I mean, I always hear that it's the cost of living increase. Are we here for the cost of living increase or a merit system? I mean, to give someone a raise for the cost of living, how do you determine that amount? And if it's just 3%, whatever it is, 4%, that equivalates different per person only on their payroll, their income, not what their actual cost of living increase is. So is there ways to look at it by stipend, by position, do just a dollar amount? And then the other thing is, when you look at that, is there money in the budget even to pick up a 3% increase in payroll? I mean, you do that every year in a compound. Last year, I believe, Haley, if I was right, it's close to $300,000. A 3% over for the whole county, yeah.
The benefits and, but the.
No, just,
No, I mean withholding, sorry.
yes.
The board also did across the board to every employee, so that was as a whole, not just us elected.
Correct, yes.
So do benefits play a part in this? I mean, is this strictly wages or, I mean, I'm sure everybody has health insurance, diapers, retirement. Is that all part of the pay package compensation or is it just
We were told
wages?
from prior, Ray, you can speak on that probably.
Well, not all of us have health benefits, I don't take insurance with the county.
But I mean, as far as the compensation board, they are
We just
not,
set a salary.
yeah, we were always told from prior legal counsel that you're not even supposed to look at like the insurance because of such things as some employees don't take it or
Right.
they're on their spouses or such. But I think in the code it specifically said something to that.
Just salaries.
Just so, yeah. But it's all been good discussions that we've had.
Yeah. Because if you're given a 3%, then the person who is earning more money gets a larger benefit out of it than the person that is not. So I feel I mean, if the cost of living, I don't know if that number is, it's hard to determine. You can look up and try to calculate
In Senate, it was
There's
like
no way.
2.7.
Yeah, off of what? And that's the medium income? The
The
median?
consumer price index that they
Yep,
sent.
but what do they set that to? The cost of living increase for someone that has 4 kids, lives on an
Yeah,
acreage,
no, I
is
know
a
what
lot
you're
more
saying.
than
I know
a
what
single
you're saying.
person.
It's not going to be fair
Correct,
across the board, however you do it.
right. So on the Social Security states that, on the benefits of 2.4, I think, or 2.5. So you find out what that average income is, that should be your cost of living increase. If it's $1,000 a year, $1,500, I don't know, then maybe that should be what the raise or the increase is for the year. As a business owner, when we do our year-end reviews, we don't just say, now we're gonna give everybody 4%. You sit down, what changed? You did a good job, you've proven yourself, you put in more time, your duties have changed, and it's tailored. Why can't we do that across the county? Or is it too large to even attempt?
Well, I think
I
what.
mean, they do it.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, they do it that way at Gritty and Critty. And they've got 600 employees. I mean, it's typically not just across the board, whether you did a good job or you did a bad job. It's based on merit.
Correct.
Another question I had, are the assistants for each department, are they set on a base, or on a percentage of the salary of the main man or
Yeah,
woman?
and I had done this because Tressa and Taylor had asked for something similar.
Yep.
I can share a few of that one.
Yep. Yeah,
So
got
what
two
I
of the
did
difference,
is
yep.
it lists the elected officials and those that we have deputies under us. The highest they can go is 85%. The highest deputy other than the county attorney's assistant can go higher than that. So I went down the list and you'll see like the percentages that I have for my 3 deputies, the treasurer and recorder. And I just picked an amount, 3%, and then there's the dollar wise, how that would affect. Because what we do with that, so if I get a 3% increase, then my deputy would be 85% of that new salary. Not just a 3% from their old salary, so.
But you're saying the county attorney is different than that?
She gets 90%.
But it's still a percentage?
Yes.
I have.
The assessor's office. Haley, I forgot to ask the other day, where's the assessor's office? Why,
He has,
Excuse
he's
me.
different because he has his own board and they have their own levy authority.
Okay,
So
okay.
those outside entities like the EMA, E911, and assessor, even though they're county funds and levied, it doesn't go play into ours as a whole. It only plays into the consolidated levy rates.
okay, when these percentages have been set in the past, did they typically follow along with that same, or did
Not
they
necessarily.
vary from it?
A lot of times there's been years where they'll get bigger, but some, like you said, they have different merits or reasons behind why they ask for more.
So if we
Same
go,
with conservation board, even though conservation is within our department, they have their own board that sets their wages.
so
Kind of like you're the board, because you're gonna set the wages for this elected official.
if we try to base it on a merit system or, you know, do the elected officials have reviews? Do the supervisors have to do employee reviews to see if, to me, that would be more of the merit system. We'd look at those reviews to see
Well,
this employee did great, this
elected
employee
officials
did.
ourselves, we don't get reviewed by anyone,
Okay,
but those under the authority of the board, like the engineer and those that are elected, they get yearly reviews, and our employees also get yearly reviews,
And the
Which
reason,
the elected officials do their
employees.
employees.
the reason elected officials don't go undergo reviews by the board is that our boss essentially is the public. So our review is election time.
Yep.
You know, they're not happy when they vote you out.
Yeah, and I do get that. I mean, you are reviewed every 4 years or whatever it is.
but you're getting a raise every year.
Yeah,
I mean, so in between getting voted out and staying on, there could be some issues that an automatic percentage may not be justified if you base it on merit.
The supervisors will review your recommendation, and they may not necessarily follow it.
Correct.
Right.
We can't go above it, but they can go below.
well, in the case of the county attorney, I mean, to me, it's a tiny bit different than some of the other departments, but, you know, the legal profession has worked their way up the financial chain pretty fast. I mean, a court-appointed criminal attorney is paid, I think, $76 an hour, which is $10,000 on an annualized basis. That's 10 grand more than Ray's getting paid, which seems odd to me. And if it isn't on merit, then you've got to look at the other counties. And in the case of the county attorney, you know, Washington County stands out to me the biggest, but Washington County is 2,000 people less, and yet the county attorney is paid $25,000 more, or, you know, which seems quite a discrepancy. Buena Vista, which is 80% our size, pays their county attorney 16.5% more than Ray's getting paid presently. Dickinson County, which is 8,000 fewer residents, is getting 6% more than Ray. And so I mean, I think there's, I am not in favor of across the board 3% and that's it. Because I think there are circumstances here that vary by department.
So you were saying that the max is 85% for any deputy under you.
But you can't have more than
185%.
like 185%.
I can because I'm the commissioner of elections, so I have two different budgets. So I can have 185% under elections and one in the office, but I still only have the 185%. The other one I share between two funds.
So if you feel one employee's doing better than the other, can you switch them?
You sure can. And they get appointed with us, and they take that oath, and that's at our discretion if we feel they're doing a job. The point of having a deputy is, so let's say I'm out of town and I'm gone. I have financial paperwork that the cities have to bring in and file, or election paperwork. We can't just say, oh, you have to wait, the auditor's not here. They have to have those responsibilities to step up and be able to sign in my absence and understand that. So sometimes they take on bigger levels with that position than some of the other employees can.
I guess my issue with the percentage is taxpayers don't ever really see what that dollar amount is, which can kind of be.
So, I mean, is there a formula? Is there any other way? I mean, can you do it by auditor department, treasurer?
Yes,
Can you say 2% for this department, 3% for this? You know, if they,
we've
if-
done that before.
so if like the treasurer's department says, you know, this has changed in our day-to-day operation, we are doing more work, putting in more hours, you know, maybe that warrants a more. And then you got the staffing underneath those people that if you feel they need more, the only way you can is either you flip those percentages around, or you have to give that department head a large enough increase to offset for the people underneath.
Yeah, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of backwards, just as doing from how we used to budget in my previous role. You know, we always like just stuck a figure in there. For example, we used a 3%. That was just our figure. So at least you had the money amount of how much you were going to spend on the employees. And in relation to the whole rest of the budget that you have, because I don't know what the county's budget is. I don't know where they're going to have. I mean, are there things in the legislature that are going to be different this year that are going to affect their revenues? I really don't know. I mean, I know federally, we're seeing a lot of changes so far, and, you know, the Iowa legislature just got started, so, you know, who knows that way. So it's kind of hard to say, but I think from whatever we recommend, and you can recommend different things for the different departments, they're going to use that money for their employees to reward them, and that's kind of how ours was. You had so much, you could ask for, the supervisors are going to review it after we give our recommendations, and I'm sure Haley will put everything together so that they can see, and, I mean, we're just recommending that this is what I think.
And if the board reduces for one, they have to do it for the
Yeah.
same across the board too.
I think, and if we didn't have the board, you guys would just determine it anyway,
Well, yeah,
because
then the
you don't
board
have
would
to
have-
have a board. But you voted to have a board, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Because they would still have to show their work, just like you guys have done, comparing other counties,
Yeah.
all that. They would have to justify all that.
You know, the point I was trying to get back at is some of the higher paid county employees, when you talk about the cost of living increase of 2.5 or 3%, when you give it to them, it's way above the cost of living increase. They're getting a benefit way above. So if the cost of living increase is averaged out throughout all of the employees, $1,500, can you give instead of a percentage of a raise increase, can you give a flat amount? Can you give a stipend for 1,000 or 1,500? And then everybody is getting that dollar amount benefit, whether they're the bottom down here, up here, and that should offset or adjust for whatever cost of living. Now, like I said, how you live and your cost of increase is different, but that's your choice. I'm with John, and I think the majority, I don't like just the flat percentage. The merit thing is great, that's gonna be by a case basis, I think, but
Well, if you can just compare, if you can only compare, you know, how you rank with other counties, those percentages and everything, just based on the population, it looks like each official is ranked higher than what, you know, our population shows. We're 24th in population, but we got supervisors are ranked 7th, county attorney's 23rd, so he's right there, but auditor's 11th, recorder's 12th, sheriff's 17th, and treasurer's 14th. So if you go just based on comparison to other counties roughly of your size, everybody looks like they're pretty well ranked anyway.
Some of those two have more employees than others.
Right, I mean, now we can go, they just show us these
That's-
numbers, but we don't know all the details.
You don't know the details behind it. That county could be more cash
That's why
flush.
it's hard to go just by the rankings, that doesn't always make sense.
One thing too, Mike, is that where we're situated between these two bigger cities and the Highway 30, 380, 218 brings a lot more traffic and business in general to our county. So our size isn't truly reflective of the work we do, I don't think, at least not in my office.
Yeah, and that's why these percentages are something to use, but do they really make sense that, you know, we're the supervisors of the top 7? I mean, you don't know, you can't compare supervisors in other
Five
counties.
supervisors versus our 3.
Yeah. Yep.
So, where do we want to kind of meander from here? These set percentages, the question I'd like to ask, so we've got the set percentages, obviously, but you can, the
I
department,
just use that as an example.
example, but again, just to reiterate, the department head could themselves, if you had a certain allocation given to your bundle under your department, if you had some that were greater performers than others, let's say, you could individually yourself, as the head of that department, allocate as you see fit, correct?
So every June, before a new fiscal year starts, all of us elected officials have to give to the board so they can approve the resolution what our deputies' percentage is. So right now, like when you guys are figuring our raises, when we know what the top salary is to base their percentages on, and, you know, if we want to cut in other areas in our budget to make it work, if we want to up their percentages versus the last year, that's the kind of wiggle room that we get. But the board is the ultimate ones that decide our spending authority.
Right. Yep.
And then the state, like, that's why our county budget is so different from everybody else's. Because we all have different service areas, the sheriff and the attorney are at service area 1, administration service area 9, engineer, and all those things come in different buckets.
Saying, hey, we gotta
And I have
stop
to
this.
compile it all into one authority, spending authority
Tracy.
to the state. So even with all these
My first year, I'm not
adjustments
gonna
throughout
ask a
the
lot
year,
of
as long as
questions till I get more
we still have to keep it within that spending authority in that service area.
You need to.
But
Gotcha.
can I say this?
Yep.
Because
That's
that's
why
what they said
once
they're
in a while
gonna
there
do.
is an amendment, but it might be.
I don't know,
for
did you ask
one
Tracy?
service
If he
area
give it to you,
or
He told me.
Or something did come up emergency wise and you have to add to increase.
One more question. It's a little off topic, but it could be a parameter. So the governor has said that she wants to lower taxes as far as property taxes, et cetera, et cetera. Is there any thought that's, or ability yet to even look at how that could affect overall revenue coming into our county?
It already has, that tax reform, they
Yeah.
say it's gonna be a long, like, maybe a 10-year process.
Right,
So similar to cities have like the maximum normal operating levy at 8.10. The county's general fund, general basic is 3.5. That's looking at the entire blanket evaluations in the county. We can levy only up to 3.5. Well, last year was the first year, they take that same levy as the prior year, fiscal year '23, and then they look at our '24 valuations, the taxable valuations. And they take that taxable value times the prior year's levy, and if we had over a 3% increase, we were forced to reduce that 3.5 levy. So last year, we had a 3.11% growth, so we were forced to reduce the general basic levy. This year, the level was 2.75, and again, we were at 2.88% growth. And that's just looking at evaluations in the county, so if we're gonna add a new subdevelopment or new businesses, we're talking dollars that bring in the revenues.
Right.
But at this point, the counties are the only ones held to lower their rates. The cities and other entities are not forced to lower their rates. So that's where, as we've been discussing as a county, we're trying to look at ways of increasing our revenue, possibly asking our cities to increase their law enforcement contract amounts. So the littler cities that we provide services to, if we can up, because they're not forced to reduce, and they have levying authority for law enforcement. So we're just, we've been really brainstorming on ways to bring our revenue higher than taxation.
Good answer.
Same with our radio project, right, Tracy? Some of those unfunded mandates too, I'll talk about a little bit, if you don't mind.
Go.
So at the state, at the state, when everybody's homestead credits were reduced or increased 65 and older, that dollar amount that's taken off your personal taxes or the military, we used to submit those reports to the state and we would get reimbursed for the difference. They're taking that away, but hopefully that's gonna come back. The commercial rollback, like all the different things, they keep mandating down to our level. Like the mailing that I have to send out for the taxation, like about the budgets, that's a $12,000 or more cost to the counties, but it's because legislation is making us do this, but we're supposed to cut our levies, so. It's gonna get hard no matter what, if our raises, but we still wanna make our people wanna come to work and be efficient and do
Right.
their job too.
Understood.
You don't wanna lose, especially when you're talking about professionals, you don't wanna lose these people, they're too hard to replace. It took me 9 months almost to replace one of my attorney positions. And that was a long 9 months.
Or spend the money on training that is required of them too, that's.
Yeah. Well, you're in a pinch. I mean, you want to reward, keep people happy, encouraged, as Ray just said. You want to come to work, do a good job, everything else, and yet your revenue source, you're forced to step down, like you said, if you hit that margin you mentioned, the 3 point whatever, or above.
Kind of a mathematical nightmare, but.
Yeah.
We're forced to do it.
Our office is starting to bring in more money, but that's only because the state finally upped some of our county's retention for motor vehicle for the first time in 3 years. So
And also,
it might generate $300,000, but that's just an estimate.
Linda also is bringing money from other counties now by driver's license. People come here now to get their driver's license.
Almost 30% of our driver's licenses are out of
Yeah,
county.
generates money.
Is that right?
And we've, this last year, I was at 12,000 and we aren't even through the fiscal year, so, that I collected actually.
And my office has a collections program. We collect for Benton, Raymer, Tama, and Dubuque County. We collect fines, court costs, restitution. And last year we signed Dubuque, and the first year we collected $600,000 from Dubuque alone. And we're hoping we can do, well, it wasn't quite that much. We're hoping we can do at least 20-30% better this year, because we get to keep a certain percentage of that for doing the work. So between my 4 counties, we bring in some pretty good money for the county.
And then I might add a little too.
Please.
So we do passports, and we not only do those for Benton County residents, but all over. In fact, a lot of Cedar Rapids people like to come here because it's easier. And we bring in $50 per person on a passport for the county. Kind of get to keep that. So that's pretty good. And then this year, our Recorders Association is presenting to the registration a modernization project. We haven't raised fees since 1985. So, for recording. So they're talking about collecting $10 a page for recording instead of the $5. So averaging out what we take in, looking at that, if that goes through, we would probably bring in about $75,000 extra.
When was the last time that was raised?
1985.
So she's further back than I was.
Same with our general basic levy. We've been at that maximum for how many years? The legislators, you need to really look at that too. With everything, like the jail costs, food and provision, I mean, there's so many things that's out of our control, but we're forced to provide these services.
Plus, at the treasurer's office, anybody from any county can come to Benton County to
Yeah.
transfer their vehicles.
That just changed, January.
That just changed.
They could before until it was COVID.
Contingent counties, they had to
Oh,
touch that,
okay.
and now it's statewide. But they can only come
Oh.
if they're gonna transfer a title. Otherwise, when it comes time to renew, they still have to go to their county. That, so we have increased some of our traffic flow with that, just because, we get Lynn County, like Center Point, or the people that don't wanna go will stand in line in Lynn County.
Yep.
It's some Tama, because Dysert's closer to come here than Tama County. The only thing is they have to take Benton County plates, and most of them don't care, so. But, so the added title fees, so there's a $10 got extra got added to title fees, a $10 gets added to, your, lien fee, $10 gets added to your use tax, and if you apply for a duplicate title, it's $10 extra, but any of that extra $10 we collect, the county keeps, so that's what's figured into that extra amount of money that we're gonna get, so. No, the state doesn't get any of that now.
And we can do vital records too. A lot of times they'll go to the driver's license and need like a birth certificate or marriage certificate. We can do that statewide now. So if you're got married in Lynn County in 1972, you can come here and get a certificate or something. But we only get to keep $4 of that transaction. The rest goes digital. But that's serving, not just Benton County.
Right.
Heritage. So, yeah.
Are you able to promote what you're talking about here with the outreach to the surrounding areas, realize what you have here?
I mean,
Email.
we do. I mean, a lot of the county, our county recorders will say, hey, why don't you go to Benton County, they're closer, she can help you. Or if they're in Iowa County, I'll say, well, just go to Iowa County. Not that I want to turn them away, but, it's handier for people to go closer to where they live.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
we all kind of work together,
that's good.
help each other. Yeah.
So? Any more
I am going to
comments?
just bring up that one other point on the county attorney, which I mentioned before. But a court-appointed criminal contract attorney is paid $76 an hour, which is $150,000. If Ray were to get a 5% increase, that would be $7,000. He'd still be $3,000 short and wouldn't have to run a department. I mean, to me, somehow, that just, the competition in his particular field is tough. And it, like he mentioned, it took us 9 months to get an assistant county attorney. And it's going to get tougher, because I don't think they like to work that hard. I'm not talking about Ray.
No, that's all based on a 2,080 hour work year.
Yeah.
Basically, no overtime or anything.
No overtime.
And actually, they break it down based on the types of crimes you're defending. So if you're doing Class A and Class B felonies, which are murders and sex abuse cases, serious sex abuse, that rate is $86 an hour. And there's a bill in the legislature that pushed that to 100, and everything under it, 86. So it could be a bigger deficit if that. And the reason why is they can't get anybody to do it. Nobody wants to do this type of law when it's so much more lucrative to go into private practice or go to law school and join a private firm, start at $100,000, $105,000 a year. Whereas, if you're coming to a county attorney's office, you're starting 20,000 below that if you're lucky. So there's a big discrepancy.
Ray, out of the outside revenue surrounding areas, counties, you're pulling money from that we're retaining in Benton County.
We do all our own fine collection, which the default is the state collects for you and you don't get anything, okay? But there was a law passed, several years ago, that allowed counties to do their own collections. And of those collections, they have a threshold amount you have to collect in order to maintain the contract. So we get 28% of that first threshold amount, which is $50,000 in Benton County. After that, we get an additional 5%, anything above that 50,000. And then we entered into 28E agreements with Tama and Bremer. And then when I came on board, I was able to get a contract with Dubuque, which has, I've never collected aggressively in Dubuque. I mean, there's probably 15, 16,000, maybe more, cases that haven't been collected on. I mean, the only thing that's in this is people to do the work. You know, I have 4 ladies that do collection, and those ladies work super hard. But you know, I really believe in time we'll get to $1 million a year in Dubuque alone. I really think we'll collect that. But we have to share what we collect with Dubuque County. That's the agreement, is that we split what we get with them. But it's still, I mean, it's a great opportunity for us. It's hard work, though. It's really hard work, and I really admire these ladies because I wouldn't want to do it, you know. But they do a good job. I'm really proud of them.
Any other comments?
Do we want to vote on the individual departments and a percentage for them? Since we don't want to do across the board?
That would probably be my preference.
Okay.
Would it be like a not to exceed percentage?
You could
And
do a
then-
percentage and your dollar amount, if you want to do a dollar amount on certain.
Or then you leave it to the supervisors who are going to, make the decision that, they can, by department, because it needs a little more discussion on how well each department is functioning, or the merit system. And maybe one department's, their duties have changed, their responsibilities, their hour commitments. Maybe they weren't, a 3%, and then another one, maybe it's only 2.5%. I don't know. It's,
And I don't know the inner workings of each department. It's the first time I've been on the board, so I've got a lot to learn. But hearing from Haley about the, like I say, unfunded mandates, these things that are coming down, I don't know how the inner workings of their departments are. But I definitely agree in a merit system or a flat dollar amount. I would be in agreement with that also.
So back to what Michelle had brought up, should we consider going by department and then starting with that, then decide on which way do we want to go? Well, how do we want to handle the compensation? Do we want it on a stipend, percentage stipend? What kind of ideas, thoughts would we have there?
I think it's nice if it's a definite amount versus a percentage, because then people can see exactly how much that dollar amount is personally, versus a percentage. I feel like nobody really knows what that dollar amount is.
But again, are we only talking about department heads here, or are we trying to establish something for the entire?
No, only department.
department heads, we can't do anything other than that.
Yeah, because
Right.
their percentages under,
And then it trickles to our deputies that are a percentage. So like if we don't, then we can't.
I can do that for the auditor. Dollar amount? I'm proposing then $3,000.
What percentage is that?
Maybe above
3.
3.
Just rounding it up to the next $50.
So that's department head then, or all? Then what happens to the employees that are
I don't know,
underneath?
you're the one that brought it up, I don't know how that works.
But yeah,
They get a percentage.
but they're based on percentages.
Yeah.
They'll get a percentage.
That's
Yep.
kind of, yeah, that's sure it's at our discretion.
I mean, honestly, sorry, it was like, I could do percentage or dollar amount, so,
Yep.
and Tressa
Yep.
said dollar amount, so I threw out a dollar amount.
Mm-hmm.
When I was, that's why I was asking about that percentage of the persons underneath. I was talking a dollar amount per employee.
But we don't
And
do
you can't
that.
do, that's why I was asking, you can't,
Yeah,
you
we
can't
don't
do that.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you give $3,000, that's what your department gets.
No, that's what the
No,
department
that's
head
what
gets.
the individual
Our
gets.
individual
Okay.
salary, and then we take whatever that.
Percentage
we can-
equals out.
We can present what we want to pay our employees based on what our cap is.
We have an 85% deputy,
Yep.
then 85% of our.
That's a larger raise.
So like if we
So
were
then
to
you're,
adjust
you
the
get the dollar
deputy-
amount, you're gonna back it into a percent, and then that percent, you're gonna take 85% or whatever you wanna use, just to
Or maybe,
clarify it.
or maybe they
Last-
didn't do a
last
good
year to
job
this
this year,
year,
and you
right.
say, I'm only gonna give them 75%, right?
Right, so if you
We
take,
certify that yearly.
it's
Yeah.
95, I'm only
I
picking
was just
on
hearing both,
her,
that it was the
because it's
full
first one
amount,
on the
just
sheet.
clarify
Sure.
it.
I have employees that,
This is a
that
flat
I intend to
3%
find
raise
way
from
to
last
give
year.
them more than
That is correct.
That is a
I'll
flat
have to
3%.
find it somewhere else
Which
in the
equates to
budget
that amount of money.
If they go 3%.
She's wanting to go 3,000, so that's higher than the actual 3%
Tracy, you were shaking your head. No, go ahead. What's on your mind?
on her.
No, when I'm thinking like easy figure, say, I don't know what the percentage, or not percentage, but the dollar amount is. Say somebody's getting $97,000, you're gonna give them a $3,000 raise, that's $100,000. So then 85% of the next one would get 85,000. And then 80,000 would be the second deputy on down. So I don't know what the percentage would be, you know what I mean?
That's kind of like that sheet I showed over there. But
You know, without a
their job is
calculator,
for
I
us.
can't tell you that the dollar amount you give that person for the 3,000, when it figures down to 85%, I don't, you know, I don't believe it's $3,000 then. That's underneath, say the first deputy.
Right. Right, you're right, yeah. Right.
Give her 3.
My
it's gonna
opinion,
work
the
out
dollar
for 3
amount
here, 'cause I just did it.
is not,
It's
I
gonna
mean,
be
it's a
3%
good
right now on the board.
idea,
Correct.
you know, for
That
you
is correct.
guys,
But
you
it's
know.
basically the same.
But
I mean,
if you go
we just did a
$3,000,
lump
that's
sum
higher
and
than
we figured.
2%.
Yeah.
So
Right.
either
That's more than
way,
what we were talking
like
about,
Tressa said, if they
which
wanna
is
show
cost of
public
living is
the amounts,
2.5.
is even
So they're
if you did
factoring, you know,
3%,
what there is, that's what I say it should be.
that's what we, of what
Right.
ours.
Based on your.
Correct.
So if you went to 95,
How deep do the percentages run? I know in the sheriff's office, it runs for the chief deputy and the second deputy. There are no more percentages.
It's
attached.
5 and a half.
that's 2.5.
Which works out
I
to
don't know
roughly,
how it works in the other office.
roughly
So like we said, we have to call
$500
right to one
less.
We have two
Roughly.
people in our
Right,
office.
because it's
and
2067 and go down to
All of mine will
2389.
be-
Right.
Because Jake will be a deputy July 1, if everything still goes okay, but he's like at 50.
I was gonna say, you have that discretion to exercise. It's not like you're gonna start somebody out at 85%. They're gonna earn
Right.
their way up there.
They got earned their way, yeah.
And I just have the one.
But could you do that with Derek?
I
too?
could and would like to sometime.
$3,000
I gotta wait.
to her is a lot larger than $3,000.
Well, from the
a
from the
bigger
county
raise.
attorney's standpoint, I guess I would like to see a $6,000 raise, which would amount to 4.26% increase.
what he's talking about is
And
getting
again,
them up to the pay
I'm
level.
concerned about the competition for that second
State,
deputy.
other counties.
I think we witnessed it, you know, we were without for 9 months. And in the marketplace, with the degree that Ray has, there's a lot of competition, a lot, so.
So,
So is the state going to do anything with the sheriff's department? Does anybody know with this back in the blue? Are they going to recommend or change something?
That's, I think, all
That's a
kind of in.
comparison. That's the only one in the code where gives you direct places to go look and compare the salaries.
So for that department, you really don't need a compensation board representative.
Well, you do.
Not if the state's gonna tell you what you gotta do.
Some people have followed it, some have not.
So it's not, you don't have to.
It says you shall, but some counties have not followed it. Does it say shall in there, Ray?
I don't know, I don't remember.
I got it right here. Oh, well, so this is in absence of the comp board.
Yeah, that's different.
So the board of supervisors shall set the sheriff's salary that's comparable to the salaries paid by professional law administrators.
Oh, that's what, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. Yeah,
Yeah, it gives you, city police chiefs with a comparable population to your county, and then, it said higher
Division of Criminal Investigation.
ranking officers or investigators within the DCI.
it still allows interpretation.
Oh, yeah.
It's a comparison, so I'm not sure that helps any in terms of guidance.
Well, I know in the past, there was a large increase on the sheriff's position, and I was told that was mandated by the state, we had to do that, the county had to. Is that correct?
There was money provided to help do that by the state.
They didn't give it to the county.
You know, there was, that Back the Blue started international. It was a national deal that started that.
So I just rounded it up. It's 3%. Just over 3%. When you based on, if you look at
Federal supervisor
the CPI was, and then
I know the supervisors are
the
taking
auditors
rates.
as a whole got,
We didn't recommend
I
it,
think, a
but I don't
4% increase, but he was
Yeah,
right.
they've already said they're not taking rates.
You know,
So
she's
Jane,
getting
that's
out
what
of
you
it.
were told
Yeah,
too.
so.
Yeah.
Well,
Should we make the rest of the board aware of that?
Well, when they were saying the $3,000, that's what we were discussing over here, that $3,000 for a supervisor is a large percentage increase for the year.
That's why you can't.
But are the supervisors taking a raise?
3%.
That's your recommendations for yourselves is zero.
It would be just a minute.
Sorry.
No, we're,
The-
the supervisors have made it known that they're not taking a raise.
Okay.
Okay,
so we recommend 0%.
okay,
Okay,
Okay.
Or $0.
Big $0 and a
Okay.
0%, okay.
Okay,
That happened to work out.
Supervisors have, these two supervisors have said they will not take a raise.
so,
The other one's on the phone.
Yes.
yeah,
I'm on board with that.
on board with that? Okay, so,
So
So
the
if we-
representative of the supervisor, we recommend
So if I-
$0 or 0%.
Okay.
is there a motion made by one of us?
What if
For
we
that
do
position,
all
or
of these and
Throwing
then-
all these
They're just
out.
throwing the information out.
Do,
If we do everything and vote on it,
well, by department though.
or vote on it all together? Like what
Right
everybody
right now,
says,
you're at
and
0
then
for the
we'll-
supervisors, 3,000 for the auditor, and
Yep.
6,000 for county attorney. So you still got the treasurer
Yep.
and the
Say
sheriff.
2,800 for the treasurer.
Okay,
Dollar
all
amount.
right,
And record, it's quarter down, okay.
Yep.
okay.
So if there was a question, if we went around the room and asked each department head what they felt their raise should be, is that out of order, or is that? I mean,
Asking for information.
would they answer, you know, honestly? Yeah,
Over here,
No.
So, I mean,
I've
do
not
you
yet.
feel, I mean, is it justifiable? Do you, that was just a question. I mean, it wasn't, I'm not asking for it, I was just saying, is that a,
Like we're in the hot seat.
yeah.
Well, I'm fine with changing the recommendation. I think it's fair, and I think it reflects some of the pressures that come with my job, so I'm fine with it.
I'm okay with Michelle.
I was okay with Christmas. And I didn't hear mine, I'm sorry. I don't think he said it.
We haven't got it yet. We haven't got it
You
yet.
didn't hear it.
I'm going down
I don't know.
So if we were,
28.
so again, if we were to take 3% and convert that to a dollar base, based on your level, what would that equate out to?
We don't have to level one, do we?
Who's that?
So that's
Quarter.
my calculator out, John.
Well, here, would you,
It's on the front sheet.
This one?
No, she's not
Auditor,
on that.
treasurer,
It's on the second
attorney,
page.
sheriff.
You know, it's-
I don't have the second.
It's on this one.
Oh, she was, I know.
Recorder.
I don't have it on, I don't have the sheet, unfortunately.
I knew I had one, but
You don't either.
I didn't.
I was looking at it.
I did too.
What's that?
same as the treasurer.
I love
Same as the treasurer.
So we have
I don't,
Same
I
as
didn't
treasurer.
bring
Must not have.
Alexa.
It's about mine, it's that.
Must have been on
So, 2,800.
For the
2,800,
the
2792.
sheriff, I'd say it's 3,000. That's actually lower than 2,000, but
We just picked it.
he has more concerns on the rest of his budget
Okay.
other than the salary.
And Charlie, the sheriff, 3,000. So we're looking at 0 for supervisors, 2,800 for auditors department, 2,800 for treasurer's department.
Yeah, 3,000
Three
for auditor. It was 3,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, pardon me.
Yes, it was
Oh,
3.
crap, I'm sorry, oh.
Quit it, you
jeepers.
wrote it in the wrong place.
I did. My mistake, my
Keeping
mistake.
my eye on them.
You do that. 4,200 for county attorney, again, 2,800 for treasurer, and 3,000 for sheriff. Does that sound right?
Attorney 6,
6, yeah, 6.
6.
6 for county attorney, sorry.
Sheriff
Oh, well.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, 0 supervisor, 3,000 auditor, 2,800 treasurer, 6,000 county attorney, 3,000 sheriff. Does that sound about right to everybody? And the quarter is 2,800. I'm just seeing if
No,
that
that's,
jives with
no,
everybody's
that's,
thinking.
no, sheriff is 4, I'm sorry,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Sheriff is 4.
Yeah, I wrote, I did the same thing, I wrote it down, I was using the wrong number.
Sheriff is 4,
Yep,
okay?
we talked too many percentages.
Yes.
I left it on my calculator.
Okay, last time from the top, and then we'll do votes unless we have more conversation. 0 supervisors, 3,000 auditor, 2,800 treasurer, 6,000 county attorney, 4,000 sheriff, 2,800 recorder. Does that jive with everybody's calculations?
Yeah, that's what, it's basically what it is. Yep, we trimmed a little bit.
But again, to Russ's point, this, and showing a dollar amount, it shows the public
That they were given a dollar raise.
a
not
dollar
percentage.
rate.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the goal.
And that's,
I think it's
that's what
right
the
on.
original part was, we do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So then the money that you were saying, the additionals that you're bringing in for, that goes into the county's budget to help on this? And this, it doesn't get allocated to a specific thing?
It does like all the money I'm bringing in, it goes right to the general fund.
Okay.
Is that more than you're losing, possibly?
Yes.
What you guys are bringing in versus what the state's taking away?
Well, right now, for my office, no, we're probably still losing. We're probably, but it's helped make up.
I don't know, right now, I'm
hard to
doing a lot of
say.
grant work, so the ARPA, I mean, we've done really well the last few years with a lot of grant passes that I do reporting for, so that's obviously saved in other areas because I can move spending.
The grant money, yeah.
And
Healy's
it's
got
hard to
several
say
of
yet,
those.
'cause we just started collecting all that extra for motor vehicle. I'm only a month in, so
Right.
it's gonna help some.
I mean, each department head this year knows that they have to like fine tune some stuff. I'm helping the board look at all the non-departmental areas and, you know, just even the outsiders that come in asking for funds, just, we're really taking our job seriously this year.
Yeah, and we try not to buy anything we don't need, so.
My department also has a budget for elections, which is out of my control, as you know, like, I have a special city, or Rama's having an election next month. I always have to have spending authority in those areas, but just because I have that spending authority doesn't mean I'm gonna spend it unless I need it. Same with grants. I encourage them to put the revenues in, but you can't spend that unless the grant does come through. So sometimes when you look at the budget, you always look at, it looks really high, because it's worst case scenario if we're gonna spend every dollar. Which we never do.
Right.
There's reasons why we have to have cushions in certain areas.
So I make a motion
Okay.
to
We can do
go
that.
with the numbers that we said a few times.
And I'll second. And I'll second.
Okay, now, before I call for all in favor, are there any more questions or comments? Okay? If none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
At what point do we talk about compensation for the compensation board?
And, you know, now's a great time to bring that up, John, since
I mean, we could go,
Brilliant.
we do the percentage thing, we could go pretty high.
John, that's what I'm getting in.
I was just gonna say, I'll buy the beer.
Do a motion to
approve all,
Yeah.
yep, all the set dollar amounts.
So then the union, for the rest of the county employees that are not affected by this, are they locked in? Do they have a 3-year?
Some of the unions do, some of them might renegotiate depending on the situation that we've had in the past. Then we have a few contracted employees that is already sent out in theirs. And then, we will do the non-elected, non-departmental, like the engineer, all those, they'll have to add on all those separate.
There are quite a few employees that aren't in the union, aren't under the civil board. All my employees are non-union. So, I think most of the courthouse employees are non-union.
Sheriff's Department, secondary roads are union represented.
But this is, the compensation board, I always have to include the elected official salary within the budget and within my publications. So that's kind of why they have to be acted on separately. And then I can have the board act on that separately, but I have to include all that in my budget hearing notice as well.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of why there's an extra step for our salaries.
Yep.
I have something that might be of interest. This is a little.
Yeah, what you got there, Eliza?
He did.
Oh,
You guys, I think, have to supposedly prepare something to give to the board. And that was kind of what they put
Oh.
together in the packet, and it'd be helpful.
oh,
Or what, Melinda types up, do something on with the listing that you,
Huh?
that I've done in the past.
It's a type of summary.
You have to type up the recommendation, like the
But yeah, we have that, yeah.
We
That
tried
is
to
nice.
break that, and
It was just kind of how it all works.
That's beyond
That's
my
great.
abilities.
Thanks for sharing that.
that might be a goal for next year, because we kind of started looking at it.
It's gonna be less than 3.
And we sent you guys some of the stuff, you know. that-
There's sections that I see, yeah.
It's just that I'm not good at putting that stuff together.
Which one?
So who does put this together? Or is this new? Or is this,
That's Johnson County. counties.
No, I know, but do we have to do the
Well,
same?
no, but Lexington and Melinda, we thought between us, we could put something nicer together.
Why don't
for
you bring
guys
up
next year to-
Oh, that'd be
Cost of living
sweet.
adjustment.
Present to the board, since you're supposed to
Nobody's
show
even
your
caring
work.
about it.
Yeah,
They talk about it.
it'd be nice. I'll be honest, with all the different emails going and you're pulling out stuff here, there,
Well, I
everywhere.
got a question from one of you, I thought share it with everybody.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Please do next year. That'd be thumbs up.
You got 4.
I should have left it at 3.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You bet.
That's how you,
That's pretty ballsy
Okay,
for.
good job.
We gotta adjourn.
Oh, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Works out right for 3.
Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Yeah.
Both? We're done?